Alright, chapter 2.6 is dealing with one-step equations. Okay, this is kind of an introduction into chapter 2.6 and chapter 3. Two keys in solving an equation for the variable. 1. Do the opposite to move something to the other side of equals away from the variable. What you do to one side of equals, you have to do the same thing to the other side of equals. Okay, we're going to kind of baby step you into this. First, determine if -1 is a solution of 3y plus 1 equals 3. Well, you've already done this once before. This is saying plug in -1 where the y is and see if both sides of equals are the same. So this gives us 3, and remember, 3 hugged to y means times, -1 plus 1. 3 times -1 is -3 plus 1. And when I add those together, I get -2. These are not the same. So the answer here is no. Now, here, solve x minus 2 equals -1 for x. That means to get x by itself. And x is not by itself right now because it has a -2 next to it. So the opposite of subtracting 2 is to add 2. Okay, doing the opposite. And whatever I do to one side of equals, I have to do the same to the other side of equals. So I have to add 2 to that side as well. Well, chop chop, that goes away. And we get x equals, and 2 minus 1 gives us 1. Now, saying solve x minus 2 equals -1 for x, I could have shortened it to just solve. And notice, they don't always just use an x. They use other variables as well. Yeehaw. So what keeps n from being alone? Well, a plus 1. The opposite of adding 1 is to subtract 1. And whatever you do to one side of equals, you've got to do the exact same thing to the other side of equals. 1 minus 1 goes away. That leaves only n on the right side. -8 minus 1, same signs. Add them and keep our sign. Now, in those rules up above, we didn't exactly have this situation going on. But in the video of my 5 steps for solving equations, we've got an x on both sides, and it tells us to take small x to the big X, either by adding or subtracting. 6 is positive, so the opposite of adding 6 is to, or 6x, is to subtract 6x. And if I do that to one side of equals, I do it to the other side of equals. So that goes away, and we're left with only a 4 on the right side. Now, if you've got 7 x's and you take 6 of them away, you're left with only 1 of them. Are you okay? Or are these x's messing with you? Now, this -5 is not subtracted to x. Remember, if a number has nothing between it and x, it is multiplied. So, the opposite of multiplying by -5 is to divide by -5. And that leaves x equals, positive divided by negative is negative, 15 divided by 5 is 3. If you don't understand this, you seriously need to ask for help. Now, negative 27 equals 3 times m. The opposite of timesing by 3 is to divide by 3. And negative 27, negative divided by positive is negative. 27 divided by 3 gives us 9. And that equals m. So, one more of just like this. The opposite of timesing by negative 12 is to divide by negative 12. And that leaves us x equals, and negative divided by negative is positive. 36 divided by 12 is 3. Now these are the clickers. It's a little harder to understand. But this can be read as x divided by 5. Now, we have to do the opposite to move something away from x across equals. So with this problem, the opposite of dividing by 5 is to times by 5. And if I times by 5 on one side, I times by 5 on the other. Now, 5, what we get is 5 divided by 5. That goes away. And that leaves x equals 10. Now, if that doesn't make sense, here's another way of looking at it. This is a fraction, and this is a whole number. Remember, a whole number is a fraction over 1. Alright? And when we have one fraction equal to one fraction, we can cross multiply. So that gives me 1 times k, which is k, equals 7 times negative 3, which gives me negative 21. Again, if you don't understand, ask questions.